All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. After spending many years as an assistant coach in the NBA, Adrian Griffin is finally getting his first head coaching gig, and it's a big one as he'll be calling the shots for the Milwaukee Bucks. Griffin takes over a Bucks team that just 2 years ago was hoisting up the Larry O'Brien Trophy as NBA champions, but they've been subjected to early playoff exits in each of the last 2 years, which resulted in Mike Budenholzer being fired as head coach last month. Griffin got the Bucks job over Golden State Warriors assistant Kenny Atkinson and his former boss in Toronto in Nick Nurse. Griffin has been known for his focus on the defensive end of the floor, which is something that the Bucks must improve upon as after giving up 113 points per game during the regular season, they surrendered 124 points per game during their first round loss last month to the Miami Heat. This was an approved hire by the Bucks star player Giannis Antetokounmpo as he met with the three finalists for the job, and Milwaukee decided to go with Griffin. Now, Griffin takes over a veteran caliber team, a veteran team that knows what it takes to win a championship, but there are also plenty of questions that must be answered for Milwaukee over the summer. Will the Bucks be able to resign big man Brooke Lopez? He's set to become a free agent this summer, and of course, Lopez not only was a big part of the Bucks championship team 2 years ago, he's also been a part of the success that the Milwaukee Bucks have had in recent years. You're talking about a guy that has really reinvented himself in the NBA as before, he came into the league as a back to the basket center with the Brooklyn Nets, or pardon me, the New Jersey Nets once upon a time. And now he's basically a stretch big that, at times can consistently knock down the 3-point shot, but he is still vital to what the Bucks do. Chris Middleton has the option to exercise a 40 million dollars a year for next season, or will he go out there and seek a new long-term deal? We got to wait and see how that works out for him. And without Middleton's contract on the Bucks still have $116 million committed to player salaries for next season. Remember, there's a lot of things changing with the NBA's new CBA. Now, I will say this: Griffin must be able to hit the ground running because he was handed the keys to a championship caliber team. You're talking about prime Giannis, Chris Middleton, potentially bringing back Brooke Lopez. You still got Bobby Portis and Drew Holiday. So the parameters are in place for Milwaukee to once again make a championship run. One of the biggest questions is going to be, will everybody on the Bucks be willing to buy into what Adrian Griffin is selling? I'll say this: I think it's a good starting point for him, being that Giannis already met with him and Giannis talked to him. And it's one of those where I don't see the Bucks ownership or their front office going out there and hiring a head coach that was not on the same page with their star player. And it's kind of one of those things where if the star player falls in line, everybody else around him more than likely will. So I think that right there is a huge starting point for the Bucks. Adrian Griffin, yes, this will be his first head coaching job in the NBA, but he's not a stranger to the NBA. He played in the league for close to 10 years. Also, he's been an assistant in the NBA for quite some time, most recently being the assistant head coach for the Toronto Raptors for the past several years under head coach Nick Nurse. And of course, he was a part of that coaching staff that helped Toronto win their first and only NBA championship back in 2019. But let's not forget, this Bucks team won it all 2 years ago, and you can make a very compelling case that injuries prevented them from winning it all last year and still playing right now as we speak. You go back to the Chris Middleton injury last year. Milwaukee got to the second round. They took the Boston Celtics to 7 games, and you just have to wonder if Chris Middleton was there, would things have been different? Me personally, I do believe so. And then, of course, the Giannis back injury in the first round against the Miami Heat, that really changed the parameters of that. Yes, Giannis did come back in that series. He was not 100%, and Milwaukee was just never able to match the intensity of the Miami Heat. And it's one of those where, like I talked about when Mike Budenholzer was let go, you can't fire the players. And that's a scenario what happened there. Now you bring in somebody who has a potential to be a breath of fresh air, if you will, in Adrian Griffin, but also a new voice as far as getting that message across. And I think that will be welcome to this Bucks team. I think this Bucks team is a veteran team that should buy into it. And I think Griffin is going to get the Bucks better at the defensive end, and it's going to be all about him getting his message across, holding players accountable, but also, walking that fine line. As far as you don't want to talk down to your players. Obviously, in the current NBA, it's more like a working relationship, if you will. So Griffin has to be able to walk that fine line. But I do believe his experience from so many years, from both playing and being an assistant coach, should help him in this situation. And he does inherit a veteran club. So I think that is definitely a right direction for him. There's a lot of directions that the Milwaukee Bucks could have gone with this hire, as there are some very good quality head coaches out there that the Milwaukee Bucks could have gone after, but they decided to go with Adrian Griffin as they believed in him more than what they did with the other candidates. Not to make a slight at them, but they just feel that Griffin is the right guy for them. And as long as the Bucks can keep their core players together and healthy, I think they are once again going to be a formidable team next season, and they are once again going to be a championship contender as Adrian Griffin looks to hit the ground running in Milwaukee. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.